Thank the Lord, you don't have to pay for an Indian wedding. So I was working with this guy. Oh my goodness! And we're running this financial plan. He and his wife are just crushing up there in Ohio, and I hope they know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to obviously say their names, but just great, great people. And I'm running his numbers, and he had a cost for wedding $250,000 for his two daughters, and I was like, I'm running. I'm like, hey, we'll call him Samir, and I'll go back to that. His name's not Samir, but I could have sworn Samir. I'm sure it was. Anyway, I said, hey, Samir, I think you fat finger this. $250,000 for weddings for your two daughters. He goes, oh yeah, Josh, that's how much it costs. I said, holy crap. Because Charlotte and I, we just got married to some minister of the Justice of the Peace in Cave Creek, Arizona. It just cost a couple bucks for wedding rings and a rented thing like that. Charlotte still has her dress. She got an off the rack dress. I said, man, we didn't pay 250. We probably paid 25 bucks. Anyway, I said, man, that's some serious commitment. And these guys are still. And I was kind of worried a little bit. I was like, well, if we're paying this kind of money, are we going to be okay? And the answer is yes. It's just as funny as hell. And, they're not multi-millionaires. I mean, they saved something, don't get me wrong, but they're not sitting on $8 billion. They're not freaking Bill Gates and Zuckerberg. It's just funny. Anyway, so I was talking to this other guy, another Indian client I have in Virginia. And I was telling him about this guy. He said, I said, man, how much you guys pay for weddings? He goes, oh man, that guy got off easy. I said, what? I said, $250,000 per. He goes, oh yeah, he got off easy. I was like, holy crap, man. And he said, yeah, basically we there's like 7 dresses or so. Like, it's just this, like, the women they go all out. You know what I'm saying? It's like they change in all these dresses. The whole community comes. It's freaking fantastic. I love the commitment to the community. It makes me happy, man. No other way around it. I just love it. I think it's freaking fantastic. I love that kind of the history, the culture, the community gathering. The wife just getting in her freaking to change and being a star. I just think it's great, man. And I don't know what the divorce rate among Indians is. I hope it's low because that's some serious commitment, and that's a community event, And it was just cracking me up. Anyway, so when I was in high school, when I first moved to the D.C. area, so I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I'm going to Blair High School, and Blair High School is a magnet school. All right, so magnet school generally means that they don't have enough capacity. They want to attract the smarter kids from the outside of the county. You know what I'm saying? This is more of an urban and inner suburb, if that makes sense. And the school, educational wise, wasn't great, so we're trying to get magnet kids in. And one of the kids I'm in class with, my first friend I ever met was a guy named Samir. I'd never met an Indian ever, and he loved hockey. I said, Samir, because I'm from Maine. He goes, oh man, you must love hockey, and he knew hockey more than I did. I said, what is this Indian kid? And we actually went to a Capitals game later on. My dad took us to a Caps game at the Cap Center, and it was just kind of funny. I always remember this. Samir, he just loved hockey, and that was my first guy I ever met who was Indian. It's funny because Indians fall under the Asian category in America. So if you look at net worth and stuff, they'll say whites, non-Hispanic whites, blacks, Hispanics, and other races, and Asians will be part of the other races. And Asians, the Indians fall into the Asians category. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny, so check this out. These are the kind of people we want in our country, man. You know what I'm saying? We have a right to, as America, and these people are fully American now, we have a right to pick and choose who comes here. We had an Indian family when we lived in Harrisonburg. They came here, just the same old wonderful immigrant story. They started a restaurant, an Indian restaurant in Harrisburg. And frankly, I can't stand Indian food. Just don't like it. I don't like Iranian food. Yeah, all that stuff is nasty to me. A lot of people love that stuff, not me. I'll eat I freaking can kill some Thai food, that's for sure. Man, I love Thai food, but you better get me a bathroom within 10 minutes after I'm done, because, man, I'm gonna freaking, stuff's going to go down. You know what I'm saying? Because it just goes through me. I do not like curry. Man, there's a restaurant in Harrisonburg that these Indians had run, and it's just, man, it kills me to this day. So the husband and wife did it. I can't remember if they had a daughter, but I remember they had a young son, and he was doing his homework over like a 6, 7 year old, and he was just the typical story of immigrants starting a restaurant in America, and he had a kid who's doing his homework right there, and like next year or something like that kid got hit and killed by a car. I was like, oh, I was like, it was just such a cute kid, and 8 years. I can't even imagine. It was so horrible. Papa wants to say hello. Anyway, so it's funny too. I'm talking to these people yesterday, and they're Chinese, and they're in Tennessee. And the folks started a Chinese restaurant in a small town in Tennessee, back in like the early '80s. And I'm like, man, was there? And so they moved, to Tennessee to start this restaurant. I was like, all places, this town in Tennessee. It's a great town, by the way. I'm not going to name it, but just great people. And I said, were there any Asian people down there? He said, no. It's like one other guy. I said, man, this is like the early '80s. I mean, can you imagine being like, rural Tennessee and seeing an Asian guy? And he had a slight accent too, a slight Southern accent. It's funny. I was just like, man, and the same kind of thing. I said, did you guys like live above the restaurant? And no, they didn't. But basically, it's the same old. We've had this story for hundreds of years in America. It's freaking great. It's great. Oh man. Anyway, it's just funny. So, and these guys are crushing. It's I love that stuff, man. I love these stories. Like when my great grandparents moved here to America from Germany. I mean, they came right at the beginning of World War One. This is before America got involved. They're German. They moved to Kansas City, and then when America got into a stupid war in World War One because we were faked by the Woodrow Wilson wanted to get us in World War One. That's just a fact. He absolutely did, and so he used whatever he could. And we knew it's kind of like FDR with World War II. They knew what was happening. Anyway, they're Germans. They weren't looked on too kindly in around World War One. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know the whole story, but I know ultimately they left Kansas City and they moved to was it Ahu or Bisbee, Arizona. 100% Bisbee, Arizona. I can't remember the explicitly because of German discrimination. I don't remember. But anyway, a long story short, the next war, their children fought, and my great uncle took out one of the Japanese battleships. Richard Deichmann took out the Chickamauga or something like that. And then my grampy was on the same as a test pilot, and he flew with I want to say John Glenn, who's in the same unit as John Glenn. So here, immigrants who came to the United States faced, discrimination without question because they're German ethnicity. And you should look into it. There's some serious discrimination against Germans back then. But there's serious discrimination against Irish. There's serious discrimination, obviously, against blacks. There's serious discrimination. It is. Anywhere you go, there's going to be discrimination against newcomers. So that's just who have a different culture. That's just a fact. It's just I hate this like anti-American crap. America, land of the free, home of the slaves. Yeah, as if any other country wasn't like that. You freaking idiots. It's so stupid, man. Anyway, I don't understand this. Like, oh, America's so bad. I can't stand the people of color stuff either because the people, look, if you want to make a case for blacks, that's fine. But you shouldn't make a case of affirmative action for people of color. That's all inclusive. You know what I'm saying? Some rich queen from freaking Thailand shouldn't get discriminatory over just a regular freaking working class white kid. That's stupid. But anyway, the point being is we've had this time and again, and there used to be this culture among many people in America, like a celebration of family with marriage and all that stuff. And that's why we still need immigrants, because they bring it back, the old country culture of what we used to do. And we need that back, and we're going to get it back. It's going to, by hell or high water, it's going to come where we get this back, simply because the economic growth that we've seen, it's not an exponential thing forever. It just is not. It's not like they say, the exponential, we're all going to have COVID, and that's why they wanted to flatten the curve. It's stupid. I mean, that never worked. It was dumb to begin with. But you're not going to have exponential growth until the end of time. You're just not. And as some, you're going to have growth. Now we're going to have a runoff. So I'm reading my book right now on the Paradox of Debt by my man Richard Vague, who I interviewed. It's a freaking great book. And I haven't gotten to the point where it talks about a debt jubilee, but I'm very much looking forward to reading that part, because I absolutely believe in it. I don't know what his thought of a debt jubilee is. But it's very interesting because he does talk here about debt leads to growth, but too much debt will lead to depression, if that makes sense. It's very interesting. So there's a paradox. Debt equals growth, but debt can bring calamity too. And so we just got to be careful there. But at some point, no one wants to be the one to basically, take the alcohol away at midnight during New Year's Eve. At some point, the punch bowl's got to be taken away. And then we're going to go back to the old school doing things with more of a community focus as opposed to what we have now, which is kind of just sitting in your basement doing a video, frankly. It's great. I love it, but it can't go on forever. So anyway, it's just something I thought I'd share with you today. I'm getting ready to deal with another guy. I think he's Indian ethnicity, and I just freaking love it, man. These guys come here, they crush. In fact, at our Catholic church, some of the best. We had tons of Indians at our Catholic church here in Alpharetta. It's crazy, tons of Indians. It's Haitians, Indians, Africans, whites for sure. Obviously, a huge Spanish population. It's like the freaking model UN there. It's crazy. Anyway, man, these two kids behind us, family behind us, a big, tall Indian guy and his wife, and two kids, the cutest kids you've ever. Oh my goodness, they were great. Every week they were there, and they always used to sit behind us. I love those guys. In fact, our neighbor up here, he's Indian, and his wife's white. They went to Georgia Tech, and they got 4 kids, man. And the kids they were cute as can be. As they get older, not quite so cute, if you know what I'm saying. But man, they'd be out there just funny. They're still cute, don't get me wrong. They're just young boys, and young boys get a little bit more aggressive as they get older. That's just a fact. But it's just funny because the 4, I love it, man, because they're still having big families. They got 4 kids, all boys, and there's hope yet. Just thankfully, we don't have to pay Charlotte and me for an Indian wedding, because that would sink us. All right, love to your thoughts. God bless.